Good morning, class. Today is the 3rd of May, 2022, and it's currently 9:24 a.m. on my clock. I have two students present in this MS Teams meeting, Mr. Vincent Castro and Ms. Yellow Cruz. Before we start, let me know if my audio and my video are clear and comprehensible on your end.
Yes, ma'am.
How about my slide presentation? Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So let us begin. So for our first activity, I want you to imagine yourself as a superhero. You know, like one of those people you often see in blockbuster movies helping people who are in dire need. In this activity, however, you won't be a regular superhero with cape and can fly. Instead, you will be a superhero who helps people grade things according to their level of intensity so that they will not be harmed or make bad choices. For example, I show you three pictures of objects that can be described using one qualifying word, hot. These three objects are a freshly baked bread, a cup of coffee, and a cup of warm water. Now, you will help Jenny here in grading these three things according to their level of heat so that she will know what to touch first and what to avoid. Now, look at these three objects. What do you think is the hottest or extremely hot among these three? Yes, Mr. Castro.
The cup of coffee is extremely hot.
Yes, you are correct. What about the object among these three that is just moderately or fairly hot? Yes, Miss Cruz.
The freshly baked bread is moderately hot.
Excellent. How about the least hot, Mr. Castro?
The warm water is the least hot.
Very good. You are all right. The cup of coffee is extremely hot, the freshly baked bread is moderately or somewhat hot, and the warm water is just a little hot. From these three, then, Jenna chooses a cup of warm water. Now wait. Jenna, the next morning, encounters another problem. She saw that the bath water, the soup that she was cooking, and the coffee were all boiling. Take note of the word at high degree. Can you help her grade the bath water, dish, soup, and the tea according to their level of boiling? When you say that something is boiling, or when you describe something as boiling, what does it mean? Yes, Miss Cruz.
When you say that something is boiling, the bath water, for example, what you mean is that the hot water is in highest degree of heat.
Good. When something is already at its highest degree of heat, can you still grade it?
No, ma'am.
Very good. So this means that the bath water, dish, soup, and the tea water can no longer be graded because they are already boiling. Therefore, you cannot say a little boiling hot water, an extremely boiling coffee, or a very boiling soup. You cannot say it. It's just between boiling or not boiling. So boiling is a word that is already in its absolute form, and you cannot use intensifiers. So, after helping out Miss Jenna with her problems with heat, let us help Mr. Solomon here, who is fond of horror movies, in choosing a movie among the three that he can start watching. The word that qualifies these three movies on the screen is the word scary. We have here blockbuster movies like It, Chapter 1, Hereditary, and Cabin in the Woods. Have you already watched these three films or at least are familiar with them?
Yes, ma'am, we have already watched them.
Among these three, what do you think can be considered just a little scary, Miss Cruz?
Based on their genre, I think Cabin in the Woods is the least scary because it is considered a comedy horror film.
Correct. How about the one that is somewhat scary? Yes, Mr. Castro.
I think it would be it chapter 1, ma'am.
Yes, I agree. It is a little scary than Cabin in the Woods. Lastly, which can be considered as extremely or very scary? Go ahead, Miss Cruz.
Based on my experience, I think Hereditary is extremely scary because it is a mix of psychology and horror.
Correct. I have watched Hereditary too, and I must say it is really frightening. Wait, instead of saying extremely scary, I said frightening. Frightening is the absolute counterpart of the word scary. Just like in the case of Miss Jana with the word boiling, frightening can no longer be graded. It is the extreme version of the word scary. Can you say extremely frightening, Mr. Castro?
No, ma'am.
How about a bit frightening?
Ma'am, also no.
Very good. Mr. Solomon then chose Hereditary to watch with his family this evening, and he wants to thank you for helping him. Now, for another activity, I present you an image that you are going to observe, and upon observing the image, you should be able to create three simple descriptive sentences or sentences that have adjectival phrase. When you say adjectival phrase, it is a phrase that is expressing description. Your sentences need to be relevant to the whole context of the picture shown. For every sentence, you need to observe if you use intensifying word before descriptive words. I will give you 5 minutes to do this activity. After that, you will present your answers and you will expound on your observations for each sentence. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may start now. Okay, time's up. Who wants to be the first presenter? Yes, Mr. Castro, you're raising your hand.
Here are the three sentences that I formulated on my image. Number one, the tree is really abundant with apples. Number two, the grasses around the fence are turning brown. Number three, the two old women look extremely happy. In the first sentence, I observed that I can use an adverb really with the word abundant, but not intensifiers like extremely or very. I think abundant is the non measurable counterpart of the word rich. In the second sentence, I did not use any intensifier because the qualifying word brown is fixed. It is already a word that is classified. I cannot say a little brown or quite brown lastly. In the third sentence, I was able to use an intensifier extremely to the word happy. I reflected and I realized that the word happy can be measured according to intensity. The two women can be a little happy, very, very happy, fairly, or extremely happy. I was able to give it levels of intensity.
Very good observations, Mr. Castro. How about Miss Cruz?
The three simple sentences I have constructed based on the image are: the entire neighborhood seems really lively and colorful. The trees are absolutely tiny. That bag is completely spacious enough to carry many apples. I observe in the first sentence that the words lively and colorful cannot be used with extremely and very, but can be used with other adverbs such as really, completely, and absolutely. That pattern goes also with the second sentence. I can use absolutely or completely, but not very or extremely, because the word tiny is the intense or extreme version of small. That is the same also with the third sentence. The word spacious cannot be measured according to degree or level, so I just used completely. I think this word is absolute.
Very good, class. You are able to point out the characteristic of each qualifying word and its relationship with the intensifier that precedes it. For our last activity, I will be giving a set of 10 qualifying words. What you will be doing is to identify whether each word can be measured or graded, or if they are already in their fixed state. I will divide you into two groups. Mr. Castro will find 5 words that can be graded or intensified from the list, and Ms. Cruz will find 5 words that cannot be graded. Afterwards, you will provide possible intensifiers before each word. The words here are freezing, hungry, wooden, dirty, Caucasian, ancient, dead, nice, confident, and difficult. I will give you 2 minutes to evaluate each words. Afterwards, I will call each of you to answer. You may start now. Okay, time's up. Mr. Vincent, would you like to start?
Yes, ma'am. The 5 words counted as gradable are dirty, hungry, nice, confident, and difficult. The possible intensifiers for these words are very, extremely, really, and completely.
Very good. Your answers are correct. How about the words that can be listed as ungradable? Yes, Miss Cruz.
Ma'am, the words that can be listed as non-gradable are freezing, wooden, ancient, dead, and Caucasian. The possible intensifiers for these words are absolutely, completely, and really.
Excellent. These are the words that can be categorized as non-gradable. You seem to be getting the full grasp of the topic. From the sentences that you have constructed and from the three activities that we have conducted, what can you notice? What are the occurring patterns that you notice in doing each activity? What can we assert or assume? Yes, Mr. Castro.
From the sentences I constructed and from the other examples given, I noticed that the qualifying words are preceded by different intensifiers. I also noticed that there are words that can be graded or can be measured, and there are words that cannot be graded because they may be in their absolute and extreme form.
Very good. That is precise, Mr. Castro. These are what we call gradable and non-gradable adjectives. When you hear gradable adjective, you can think of it like report cards where students are assigned grades such as A's, B's, or C's. In a way, grades on report cards are kind of gradable adjectives. This subset of English adjectives refers to the descriptive words that can express different degrees or levels of a given quality. Non-gradable adjectives, on the other hand, are the opposite of gradable adjectives. They do not describe a quality of various degrees. They are more black or white, yes or no. You either have it or you don't. To think of the report card analogy, these adjectives are pass or fail. Generally speaking, these adjectives are considered all or nothing. A noun either possesses the quality or it does not. Do you have any questions, clarifications about today's lesson?
None, ma'am.
Okay, if you do not, let us formally end this lesson. Thank you for listening, take care, and see you next meeting. Okay na po.